I'm going to be talking about is a bit of the journey we have been, and really it's about digital disruption. Is it a revolution or is it an evolution? So one of the things I like to start with is a bit of context. Why is digital disruption so relevant? Well, you know, the advancements in digital and also the capabilities that are nowadays available for startups have brought the power of the cloud, the power of extensibility to the masses, and everybody, you know, can start up a company and start serving content and start creating customer experiences, and combine that with the rising expectations of customers that now have a mini computer in their pocket every day and have a mini computer whenever they try and use one of their devices at home. That expectation is coming into their everyday life and in every product they use. So in this on the net, you get lots of words from, you know, evolve, thinking, rethink, motivation, improvement, revolution. So this presentation is going to really approach three subjects. How did our thinking evolve? How did we approach this? And what are some of the lessons we learned through this journey? So first, I want to talk a bit about The Economist and who we are and what we stand for. The Economist started as a magazine in 1843, and really from then it was started to defend free trade, and from then on it's continued advocating for around positive change. It also has a particular look at those forces that will shape our future, and it's considered a trusted filter. It's also a premium brand. It's premium packaging, premium content, and premium pricing. And it's a global publication. Three quotes that I like to use to try and explain a bit about who we are on the screen now. But the one I like the most is really, in opinion polls, 100% of Economist readers had one. And for me, that says a lot about our leadership, who we are around the way we express our opinions and we go after what we believe in. So a bit quickly around our product set. We are well known for our newspaper, but it's a set of products. It's a range of products that we have, from a daily product called Espresso to culture magazine called 1843, through a bilingual app which is available in Chinese and English, Global Business Review. Now, what's changed? Well, the market has changed. The expectation of customers has changed. It changed, you know, through the advent of mobile, through the rise of chatbots, through, you know, the use of video, and really also some of the capabilities out there around, you know, how we can leverage the power of push and the power of linking our content, but also the social giants are playing a big part in this disruption around how people can access their content, what they get, and how they share their knowledge across. So our thinking had to evolve around this, and in this presentation I try to give a bit of a feel as to how we approach this digital transformation. So I would like to put within my slides some of our core beliefs. These are the beliefs within the digital team that we try and live day in, day out. But one of them is around embracing change, and the way we drive and embrace change, challenging the status quo as we adapt and evolve. And digital transformation is all around embracing change. It's all around adapting and evolving. Now, how did we look at this? And we set out a journey, a transformation journey, which really could be summarized in 5 pillars. It's being cloud and mobile first, buying commodity and building innovation. It's about being cross-functional and product-centric and having an agile mindset, as well as being value and data-driven. Now, none of this is groundbreaking, really. It's common sense. Why wouldn't I, go and buy commodity, and why wouldn't I be cloud first? But setting these 5 pillars really drive our thinking and really drive the way we look at each and every initiative. We also aligned to a set of strategic intents, really. What are we trying to do? And for us, it was all around increasing our brand awareness. It was around growing our audience reach. It was around growing our paid content, as well as maintaining a viable business. But we set out strategy around wanting to establish subscribers and non-subscribers alike the value of our journalism. So, one of the key items of transformation that we embrace, really, the embracing of change, is how we are organized. And within classic digital or IT organizations, you would have your classic functional practices. And these are nothing new, really. Your teams are made up of product owners and project managers, and you have engineers and operations people, and usually these people work in their own teams, and then they come together into projects, and then they disband back into the teams. However, the thinking needs to change there. The thinking around how to become cross-functional needs to come together, because that product that is born out of an initiative or a project that is started doesn't really die at the end of a project. It's actually born at the end of a project. So the constant evolution of that product is really key, because customer expectations don't stay fixed. Customer expectations change. As such, your products need to change. And this is a bit of a view as to how we organized ourselves into cross-functional teams. But critical to the thinking and to the approach is, for me, this approach around thinking big but starting small. And what it really means is around feeling empowered and really continually learning from your experiences. And another pillar of digital transformation is this continuous evolution. So we started with embracing change, then we continue with the continuous evolution. And wanted to share a bit how our evolution has been in terms of content. And there are really 2 pillars, two scenarios that were considered. One scenario is that content discovery will happen totally off domain, i.e., customers will go and discover content in the medium they feel more comfortable in. Is it Facebook? Is it Google? Is it Apple News? Whichever medium they feel comfortable with. Or else, customers or consumers could get tired of the endless stream of content that they are bombarded with day in, day out, and they come back to their trusted brands. So very polarized views here in terms of scenarios of what could happen. We decided to hedge our bets. We decided to hedge our bets and evolve on the 2 fronts to be able to address both audience reach, which is the pillar around content discovery, as well as customer experience, which is the pillar around coming back to your brands. Now, we did that through a number of initiatives, and through the next few slides I tried to give a bit of a feel as to what it means, from reading The Economist across different mediums, to being more proactive on social and you know, getting your message out there on the social media channels, to really, for us, this was a big change to watching The Economist, you know, and watching The Economist on something like Facebook Live, where our editor goes and you know, is discussing things like when Brexit happened, you know, the aftermath of Brexit. The editor was there having a conversation around what it means and what her thinking is about that, to also launching on platforms like Apple TV and Google Chromecast, where we are now delivering short-form video documentaries, some serialized and some really, really short, that offer insight on particular subjects. To listening to The Economist, now The Economist is available on products like Amazon Alexa and Google Home. And this strategy around, you know, read, watch, and listen really is targeting our reach to audiences in different mediums, and really tackling that aspect of the strategy whereby content discovery happens totally. So, what about on our own site? Now, we had a website for a number of years, and everybody has a website, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to create an experience that is habit-forming. We wanted to create a place where people can come and discover the richness of our content and be able to, you know, delve into particular subjects. So we started an initiative to really reorganize and redesign this experience into a new product. However, this product didn't stand still, and what is important to understand is this iteration process whereby the product cannot stand still because customer expectations change. And here I try to show how we organize ourselves in terms of being able to understand through discovery, where you can experiment, you can look at doing user testing, and then once you have experimented with the idea, you take it into your delivery track and start iterating that particular feature. And one of the examples that I like to give to try to explain this is when we launched our new site, you know, we worked with a number of designers, and it's you know, let's have nice big pictures, and let's have white space so that, you know, the content can really come out, and it's a cleaner, crispier experience. However, when we started looking at both the quantitative and also the qualitative feedback that we were getting, we started getting feedback around, you know, the experience doesn't really enable us to read as much as we wanted to read. And we started experimenting around the content density. And the content density is basically how much content can I get to give me a snapshot of what's happening so I can understand what I want to read about. And through the iterative process, the change happened where now the design evolved, and it evolved to really address some of that customer feedback. And this will not stand still and will continue to change. And part of digital transformation is the ability to be able to continuously evolve those products that you are going to be putting out to the market. So the other key thing behind digital transformation is understanding the data. Not only understanding the data from how people are using your products, but also what people are saying about your product, to how people are interacting with those products. And this is the way we describe our approach to data is through three pillars: understand, reach, and engage. really understand is where we are gathering the information. We are gathering the different data points into a single customer view, and then using that information and identifying the insights to be able to continuously improve the product, but also to understand how to make the product better. That continuous feedback loop within your product development cycle is a key aspect of digital transformation. The ability to then use that data and to be able to segment that and reach out to your customer to engage them is another capability that you would require, as well as then looking at how you can engage those customers through more personalization. The result of our journey can be seen in this landscape, and this landscape really shows our distribution channels and what happened over the course of the past couple of years, how this expanded. If you have to look at this, a few years ago, there was probably around 50–60% of it there. But now we've expanded the ability for us to engage with audiences on different aspects. We've launched on new platforms that you wouldn't really have expected the Economist to be. More recently, we've launched on Snapchat, and that was an experiment that was done, and actually the value of the data we gathered there helped us understand that out of the channel we are able to reach a different type of demographic than we originally thought. And from understanding more our social channels and understanding which of those social channels are performing and closing down some of those channels that weren't performing and really focusing our efforts around the ones that are. So behind all this is a set of platforms, and part of the digital transformation is really establishing what are those building blocks you need to put in place to be able to target product delivery and to be able to target distribution. One such capability for us was the need to want to build components and not templates. And what do I mean by that? And what I mean is that we are decomposing those experiences into a set of reusable components that then we can take and gather together to reassemble into other experiences that we need. It's the ability to be able to increase or improve speed to market, but also the ability to assemble new customer experiences better. And for that, we've looked at recent technology advances, technologies that have come out of Facebook, for example, like React, or technologies like Node, that enable us to leverage the power that these techniques enable you to do. Key to that is the ability to test, the ability to also continuously deliver features. And to enable that, really we looked at automating as much as possible. We looked at containerizing our architecture and creating that constant delivery pipeline to be able to introduce feature. But critical for me, for the digital transformation, is the ability to test different techniques. You can't know it all up front, and really you need to be able to have a means of testing within your product, testing different experiences, and then implementing the winning experience to the audience. I'll give you a bit of story on how, for example, we went to market with our new site. So our new site was developed last year, and in October we decided we want to start testing this experience. So we went to market to 5% of our audience, and out of that 5%, we started gathering feedback. We started gathering feedback, and we started feeding that feedback through that discovery loop into the delivery loop, to then start growing that to 10%, 20%, 30%, where eventually, later on, in February, we released to 100% of our audience, and the experience of the product from when the product started at 5% to where the product is at 100% was totally different, really. So, to enable us to do that, the ability to have the data and be able to analyze that information is really critical. And here are some tools that we used to enable us to accelerate this delivery. Now, one of the core things that really made links up with our strategic intents around buying, commodity, and building innovation is around how we target the distribution of content. And for this is the most technical slide I have, but for this, we decided to build our own platform, and this is where you need to really decide where you are going to focus your efforts. And for us, for our landscape, we had a number of content management systems. Each product has its own content management system, and the challenge we are trying to approach is how can we bring that content together. Now, one way we could do that is through creating a new CMS that replaces all, which means a big change to the way we work and a big initiative to do. To this approach that we decided to take is creating a content platform that is able to enrich that content, to be able to bring that content together from the disparate sources, and then be able to feed our different products and distribution channels. Now, another part of the journey was around looking at commodity-driven services. Because one of the things you can't do is you can't build it all. You know, you can't have all your engineering efforts done and build everything from scratch. So we went out to the market and we looked at some of the capabilities out there to enable us to change. And for our commerce platform, we decided to go with a best-of-breed approach and to connect various best-of-breed services into a landscape that is enabling us to deliver improvements to our marketing teams. It's enabling us to start gathering information and bringing it out into the market. So what did that give us? Well, it gave us an enhanced way of doing e-commerce because it's CMS driven. It gives the capability to our marketing teams to be able to build different journeys and to be able to manage the different campaigns around subscription that we have. But key to that is we transition the mindset to configuration rather than development. And configuration is really key to enable you to not start getting a landscape that will tie you down into highly customized products, which will in turn hamper your ability to be able to evolve and continuously improve. So I spoke a lot around data, and one of the other platforms that we looked to establish is our data platform. And for this, we looked at services out there, and this is a bit of a hybrid in terms of the buying, commodity, and building innovation, because this platform embraces both together in terms of the way it enables us to get the content, to get the data from various sources, first party, third party, historical data, into a single repository, and be able to then leverage that for insights around product optimization, around strategy planning, and customer insights. So, bringing it all together, really, what we have is a landscape that is made up of building blocks, of platforms that are all connected together to deliver the customer experience. Now, for us, the road ahead is all around evolving this. And I like to use this slide because it's a slide from Gartner, and Gartner talks about a hype cycle, and usually the hype cycle is around a technology trigger, let's say VR. And the technology trigger starts, and you start with your expectations rising, and those expectations rise to a peak. Eventually you get to a trough of disillusionment. It's like, oh, it's this all it is, until you identify how we can productionize that and that particular technology, and then you get to your plateau of productivity. But we like to use this to really explain what you are to expect in a digital transformation, because you will go through this cycle where you start an initiative, like for example, you start an initiative around delivering your commerce platform, and at the start there is a whole source of excitement around it, and you start moving through that peak of inflated expectation, whereby this platform is the best thing since sliced toast, really. But then you deliver it, and you get to that trough of disillusionment, where you really, between the expectations and between what you actually deliver, there is a bit of a difference, because you are going to deliver a minimum viable service initially, which you can then iterate and continue evolving. And that is key to continue going through that part of the journey, because eventually you'll get to the slope of enlightenment, where you identify the investment you made, how can that support your digital evolution. And once you master that, it's when you start becoming productive and you get to the slope, to the plateau of productivity. So I wanted to speak a bit about some of the lessons we learned through this journey, this very quick journey that I gave you around our digital transformation. And really, I spoke about cross-functional teams, but one of the key aspects of your transformation is really your culture. And for us, culture trumps strategy, really. But that culture needs to also come with an understanding as to how those cross-functional teams work together. What are their roles and responsibilities? Because people's mindsets have to change through a digital transformation. Be ready to pivot. The choices you make at day one will not probably be the choices you'll end up with at the end of your transformation. Be ready to learn and continuously evolve. Look at resources, look at augmenting and building your teams up. Do not export all your knowledge out and have projects that come in, bring a lot of resources in to deliver, and then disappear, and the knowledge disappears with them, because your platforms and your products will still be there, and you'll need to evolve them. Otherwise, be ready to invest a whole load of other millions to transform again in a couple of years' time. Have a clear vision, and don't rush yourself into unknown territory. And really, an important aspect of going into this massive transformation is ensuring that you really understand and elaborate. And when you go into a period of elaboration, we do not concentrate on elaborating the 80% that is known, but the 20% that is unknown, really. Co-location is key. Myself, my teams are very distributed. I have teams Eastern Europe and India, but the ability to bring people together to solve problems, don't underestimate the power of that. So one of the lessons for us is co-locate as much as possible. That's not always possible, though. Forward planning is really critical, and through your digital transformation you will find that you will have things change. You know, the annual objectives are a thing of the past. Myself, I like using the paradigm that is adopted by Google around the objective key results that really look at establishing a set of objectives and then look at key results through that quarter that will take you towards that objective, and then refining that and understanding that at the end of the quarter to prepare you for the next quarter. So forward plan as much as possible and review those plans on a regular basis. Embedding this one for me is key, as product delivery and continuous integration and continuous delivery of products is such a critical part. You want in this cross-functional team every aspect of your delivery pipeline, and hence the classical paradigm whereby operations is this isolated unit that then serves the rest of the development organization really causes issues in terms of being able to continuously evolve. So one of the lessons learned for us was embed operations much more into the cross-functional teams. And the next stage of evolution around cross-functional teams is break the boundaries of those cross-functional teams from being just an IT and a digital organization to actually containing the various subject matter experts from the various other business units that you have that need to be aligned to and need to be thinking about that product. So, in conclusion, for us, we've evolved our thinking, we disrupted the way we work and the way we are organized, we have embraced a best-of-breed approach, and we continue to look at ways to improve the customer experience through that continuous iteration, through the looking at the data. And I'll leave you with a final quote. Failure is not fatal, but failure to change might be.
Thank you, Mark. It was a pleasure to have you here. Merci, thank you à Kaliop de l'avoir invité. Merci énormément. Sorry for the microphone issues.